We've been focusing on the home page for the past few lessons, and I want to go back to the new form. So when we post a gig, it's still an incomplete form. You'll see that we don't have our category listed here, that they can assign the category to this new gig, and we also don't have any skills here where the user can enter in the skills that they want. So let's do that right now. If we go into our text editor, let's go and find that form, and it's right here. You see we've got the location right here, and I want to add in another one of these. So copy it from this column 6 right here, and let's bring it, let's see, let's put it up top, let's put it right above it. So right here we have location. We want that to be category ID. And for the second one down here, we want it to be a select field, so they can select the type of category that they want this gig to be. And here we have a Rails method here, options from collection for select, do category.all, get the ID, and then get the name of all those categories. And then you have to put in an empty hash here. So this options for select, this takes or it accepts a few different parameters, and so you have to put in this empty hash right here to essentially put it to nil. Now when we do a refresh, actually let's get rid of this help block here first. Say enter the category want for this gig. Save it. Now if we do a refresh and go back to our browser, here we go. So these are all of the categories that we created in our seeds file. So if we go back in our seeds file here, you'll see that this is where it's all at. Okay. So now we've got the name, the budget, the category, the location, and the only thing we're missing now is the list, or excuse me, is the skills. So let's enter in our skills. If you remember, let's just take a look at our schema real quick. We have skills, and it is its own separate table. So what we can do here is create the skills when you are creating the a new gig. So let's first go into our gig RB file, and here we're going to have to create a few different things. So create a new method, call it skill list equals skills string. And what's happening is what I want here is for us to be able to say, and this isn't it, this is just the description text box, but let's say I want Rails, Ruby, JavaScript, and what I want it to happen is when we have the skills here is if somebody enters in Rails, Ruby, or JavaScript and they have the comma here, that it'll actually create a new skill if it doesn't exist already. So if Rails, Ruby, and JavaScript do not exist as skills, then create those skills. If they do, then just use whatever it finds. So that's essentially what I'm aiming to do here. So let's go to our skill list and say skill names, create a variable, skills string, so what we had up top here in this parameter, split it by the commas. And then you want to do a collect s, strip it to make it all downcase, and then make sure it is unique. Let's keep that like that. And then new or found skills, skill names, do another collect here. Actually, let's call it name. Skill find or create by. So if it finds it, then don't do anything. If it doesn't find it, then create the skill. And self.skills equals new or found skills. So that gets us the ability to do this here. To create another one here called skill list, sorry. And here say self.skills dot collect do skill. Find the skill name, end it, join like that. So this gets us, allows us to create the skills. This will give us all of the skills right here. All right, and so now we'll go back to our form here, and where do we want to put it? Let's put it underneath the description actually. So let's create a new legend here and say list skills required for this gig, and then create another div of form group. Form group, close that div, form of text area, skill list. So this is grabbing those skills right here, or allowing you to type in whatever skills you want here, and then up here this is what actually creates it. So here lets us do this. So I take that back. This method here lets us, it takes this and parses it so that every comma separated value, it'll be turned into an actual skill. It'll actually go through and create that in the database. So here we'll just say rows. Let's give it 3 rows, class of form control. And then do we need, let's just put in some help block in here too. Might as well. And separate skills with a comma, we'll say. Separate skills with a comma. So now if we go back in here and do a refresh, list skills required for this gig. Great. Now we have all of that. That should be good. So let's create a new one here. Say we're looking for a JavaScript developer, $10,000, web development, and actually, you know what? Let's just change this. So I'm looking for an accountant, so that we're creating other things besides web development. Location is in New York. Hello. Skills required for this job. So let's just say CPA, math, and accounting. Create the gig. So accountant, gigs 51. Let's go into our Rails console to make sure that it worked. We can just say gig.last, and then you'll see that we have an accountant. That all works. Category ID is empty. Now what did we need? What did we miss here? I believe in our gigs controller we need to allow it to create a new, actually put in the strong parameters here, the category ID. And actually the skill list as well. Since we're adding those 2 new parameters, we're allowing it to create those. So let's go back, create another one. Let's just say an auditor, $100. Let's say in finance, location is, this is always the hardest part. Detroit, math. Now let's do it again. So math, finance, and CPA. Now create gig. And then if we do this, category ID is right here. So that's saved. Fantastic. Now if we do skill.last, CPA right there, skill.all, you'll see that we have the math, finance, and the name CPA right here, or another one called CPA right here. So fantastic, we got that working. So we are pretty good on this new gig form. We've got the skills here being created. We've got the category ID here and location. And if we take a look at our gig, I believe that's geocoded. So we got the latitude and longitude right here. So good. Our new gig form is pretty much done. Now let's work on the show page and go back to that and clean that up a little bit.